So imagine this scenario. You get home from a long day, you just sit heavily on the couch and you think, I just need a quick, 10-minute break to decompress before I do anything else.
Oh, the famous 10-minute break.
Right. So you pull out your phone, you open an app, and you start swiping. And the next time you look at the clock, 75 minutes have just vanished.
It's completely gone.
Yeah. But here is the real kicker. You don't feel relaxed. Your eyes burn, your brain feels like static, and somehow you are actually more exhausted than you were when you sat down.
It's the worst feeling.
We have all been there. And today, we are completely dismantling the biggest lie we tell ourselves about learning and time. Because, we always feel like there's never enough time to learn something new, especially a language like English.
It's a phenomenal trap, honestly. We convince ourselves that unless we have 2 perfectly quiet, uninterrupted hours to dedicate to a goal, we just can't do it.
Right.
We wait for the perfect conditions, which of course they never arrive.
Exactly. So our mission for this deep dive is to help you stop waiting for those perfect conditions. We are going to help you stop wasting time and start learning smarter. Not harder, smarter.
All of that.
Yeah. We are digging into this really fascinating framework today. It was originally put together by 2 guides named Rover and Charlotte, and they hit you with a deeply counterintuitive truth right out of the gate.
Oh, yes.
You do not need hours of study every day. Even just 10 intentional minutes can completely change your language skills.
Which, that sounds almost like an infomercial promise, right? Just 10 minutes a day.
It totally does.
Yeah.
But what makes their approach so robust is the cognitive psychology beneath it. They aren't just giving you a motivational speech. They break down time management into 5 core focus areas.
And it completely changes how your brain perceives ambition, distraction, and rest. And I want to set the tone right now for you listening. This isn't some aggressive, finger-wagging lecture about how you need to hustle harder.
Oh, no. Please, no. Right. Nobody wants to hear that you need to wake up at 4 a.m. This is a very warm, cozy, strategic look at how to get your time back. So before we can build a smart strategy, we kind of have to look at the disease itself.
Yeah, we have to understand what wasting time actually looks and feels like in the brain.
Because it's not the same as just resting. Right.
Exactly. It's essential to define it because we conflate wasting time with doing nothing. But doing nothing like true intentional resting is highly productive.
Right.
Wasting time, on the other hand, is an accidental drain on your cognitive resources. It's doing something that doesn't help you grow, it doesn't bring you genuine joy, and crucially, it doesn't allow your brain to recover.
There is this analogy they use in the source material that really struck me. They compare your daily allotment of time to a single bottle of water.
Oh, the water bottle rule, that's a good one.
Yeah, so you only have so much water in that bottle. If you purposefully drink it, great. If you use it to water a plant, awesome. But if you accidentally knock it over and it pours directly onto the floor,
It's just gone.
It's completely gone. You can never drink it later. You can't wring it out of the mud. And I want to unpack that with you. Why do we so often pour our water on the floor when we know we're going to be thirsty later?
Well, it's the irreversibility that stings. But the biological signal that you've just poured your water on the floor is a very specific flavor of regret.
Yes, that empty feeling.
Right. It's the dopamine deficit you feel after that 75-minute scrolling session you mentioned earlier. You weren't resting. You were rapidly context switching between hundreds of different micro videos.
Which is exhausting for the brain.
It forces your brain to process a massive amount of fragmented information. It spikes your dopamine just enough to keep you swiping, but it never actually delivers a satisfying reward.
Which perfectly explains why you feel so hollow afterward. You're caught in this endless loop of just one more, hoping the next video will finally make you feel good.
But it never does. Your brain is exhausted, but emotionally, you are completely empty. It comes down to a total lack of intentionality.
So, if aimless wandering is what causes us to pour our water on the floor, how do we direct our focus? Because the answer in the framework is actually kind of shocking. They say, shrink your ambitions.
And this is where the behavioral psychology gets really fascinating, because intuitively, we think big goals create big motivation.
Right. If I am trying to learn a language, I want to say, I am going to become perfectly fluent in English so I can get a massive promotion. That sounds like a great goal.
It sounds great on a vision board. But as a daily operating system, it's catastrophic.
Wait, really? Why?
Because improve my English is entirely too vague. Your brain's executive function looks at that goal and cannot compute the exact steps or the energy required to achieve it today.
Ah, it's like the GPS analogy they use. If you don't plug an actual address into your GPS, you just drive in circles, wasting fuel.
Exactly. It's like telling your GPS, take me somewhere successful. The car has no idea what street to turn on.
That is so true.
And because the brain can't compute the energy required, it triggers the amygdala, the brain's threat center. The ambiguity actually causes anxiety.
Wow.
Yeah, your brain senses this massive, undefined mountain of effort, registers it as a threat to your energy reserves, and immediately tries to protect you by urging you to do something safe, like watching a funny video.
So our own ambition is literally paralyzing us. We set the bar so high that our brain begs us to procrastinate just to survive the overwhelm. So what is the antidote? How do we fix it?
We use what the framework calls a tiny plan. You have to shrink the goal until the friction to start drops to absolute zero.
Meaning the address in the GPS needs to be microscopic.
Exactly. Instead of I will study English for an hour today, the plan becomes I will learn 3 new vocabulary words, or I will listen to 10 minutes of audio.
But I have to push back on this a little bit.
Go for it.
If I only study 3 words a day or read for exactly 10 minutes, won't I just forget everything by tomorrow? I mean, can 10 minutes a day genuinely move the needle on something as complex as a new language?
It sounds like a gimmick until you look at how human memory actually works. The brain doesn't learn well in marathon, exhausting sessions. It learns through a mechanism called the spacing effect.
The spacing effect. Okay, what is that?
Frequent, short, highly focused exposures. It signals to the brain that this information is constantly relevant, so it transitions into long-term memory faster. Plus, you have to consider the psychological momentum.
What do you mean by momentum?
Think about the classic scenario. You pledge to study for an hour. By 8:00 p.m., you are exhausted from work. You look at that hour, you skip it, and the next day, you feel immense guilt.
Oh, I've done that. You label yourself a failure.
Right. The mountain just got taller. But with a tiny plan, just 10 minutes, you can do that even when you're tired. And when you finish those 10 minutes, your brain gives you a hit of dopamine. You kept the promise to yourself.
You actually feel proud. There is a personal story from the source material about this. A learner was trying to study another language for a full hour every day.
And they were just miserable.
Completely. They were exhausted, skipping days, feeling like a failure. But when they changed the goal to just 10 minutes a day, everything shifted. They kept the promise. They stopped being scared to start.
Which is the exact emotional state required for neuroplasticity. Your brain absorbs information significantly better when you feel capable and relaxed.
Okay, so once you have a tiny plan, the next logical hurdle is finding the time to actually do it in a busy schedule.
Right.
But the secret here is that the time is already there. It's hiding in plain sight. We just treat time like currency, right? We focus so much on the big coins.
The solid 1-hour blocks.
Yeah, the $100 bills. If we don't have a full hour, we throw the small coins, the 3, 5, or 7-minute gaps straight into the trash by scrolling on our phones.
This is where they introduce the concept of pocket time. It is so powerful.
Pocket time, I love that term.
It's those spare 5 to 10-minute gaps that naturally occur throughout every single day. Waiting for a bus, sitting in a taxi, waiting for water to boil, standing in a queue.
The exact moments we usually spend agonizing over how slow the line is moving.
Exactly. But if you pair your pocket time with your tiny plan, you create this incredible compounding effect without requiring any extra hours in your day.
There's this highly motivating story they share about a working mother with 2 kids. She never had a full hour to study. It just wasn't her reality.
But she became fiercely protective of her small minutes.
Yes. She used 5 minutes walking to the bus stop, 10 minutes at lunch, 7 minutes right before bed. And over a few months, she drastically improved her English comprehension and speaking skills.
Because she didn't try to buy any new time. She just stopped throwing her change away.
It is incredibly empowering. But let's be real for a second. It's great to have a tiny plan and use your pocket time, but how do we stop ourselves from abandoning the plan when it gets hard?
Ah, the resistance.
Yeah, or when our phones distract us. Like, how do we make sure we don't treat learning like a punishment, and how do we lock out the distractions that try to steal our pocket time?
The framework synthesizes 2 core focus areas here. Make English fun, and watch out for time thieves.
Because the brain rejects constant pressure, right?
Absolutely. If it demands perfection, your brain raises its defenses. To stick with it, you must connect learning to things you already love. You have to Trojan horse the English into your joy.
Give me an example of that.
Well, the guides suggest turning English into a game. If you love music, print out the lyrics to your favorite English songs. Circle the words you don't know.
Oh, and sing them in the shower. Try to copy the singer's voice and accent.
Exactly. Or with TV shows. Watch short series, but upgrade from your native subtitles to English subtitles. It engineers these small, continuous victories.
So you aren't studying anymore, you are playing. And we will endlessly play a game that we are winning.
Spot on. But simultaneously, you must set small rules to guard against time thieves, primarily social media, which literally steals time without giving anything back.
Because if your phone is in your hand during those 5 minutes of pocket time, you have to use willpower to choose English over an addictive app.
And willpower is finite. By the end of the day, the time thief always wins.
So how do we beat them? We don't have to hate the thief, do we?
No, the analogy they use is locking your door to protect your house. You don't have to declare war on the concept of burglary. You just set physical rules.
Like putting the phone in another room while you study for those 10 minutes.
Right. Or turning off notifications for 1 hour. You remove the need for willpower entirely.
Okay, so if we are optimizing every tiny pocket of time and rigorously locking out time thieves, there is a massive risk of burnout here. We have to address the elephant in the room, downtime.
Yes, we absolutely do.
I'll play devil's advocate. If we are saying don't waste your time, doesn't that imply you should be productive every single minute of the day?
No. I am aggressively shooting that down. Rest is not wasting time.
Okay, good.
The authors introduced the phone battery analogy.
Yeah.
If you use a phone all day and never plug it into the wall, what happens?
It dies. It just goes black.
Exactly. And humans are exactly the same. Rest, sleep, quiet time. These are the acts of charging the battery. Proper balance is what makes a peaceful, successful life.
So true. There's this really powerful anecdote from the source about this. One of the guides talks about pushing through exhaustion late at night to finish a project.
Oh, I remember this.
Yeah, it took them 2 grueling hours fighting their own brain, and they produced really bad work.
And what happened the next morning?
After they finally slept, they tackled that exact same task. It took them only 30 minutes, and the quality was far better.
Because rest is a strategic investment. It is not a waste. The biological process of learning actually happens while you rest, when your brain transfers short-term data into long-term memory.
Wow. Okay, we have covered so much ground today. Let's synthesize this into an actionable, practical plan for you listening today. It boils down to 4 steps. First, choose one tiny goal.
Ridiculously tiny.
Second, decide exactly when you will use your pocket time to do it. Marry the action to an existing gap in your day.
Third, make it fun. Connect it to joy.
And fourth, speak kindly to yourself afterward. Be your own coach, not your enemy. When you finish your 10 minutes, acknowledge the victory.
It builds so much momentum.
Yeah.
I want to leave you with a final lingering thought that really builds on this deep dive.
Let's hear it.
We've talked exclusively about learning English today, right? But consider the psychology of the tiny plan and pocket time. If just 10 intentional minutes can rewire your brain for a new language,
Yeah.
what other massive, intimidating life goals are you currently failing at simply because you are refusing to make the plan tiny enough?
Oof. That is such a good question. Maybe the destination in our GPS is just too big to compute. Remember, your time is like that bottle of water. You only have so much of it. Stop pouring it on the floor.
Well said.
Thank you so much for investing your time, not wasting it with us in this deep dive today. Step back into your day, look closely at your schedule, and go find your first hidden coin of pocket time. We will catch you on the next one.